Not only can functions take in data as parameters, they can also return data to you. This is called the return value of a function, and they state that the type of a value that a function can return. A function may or may not return a value, and if a function does not return a value, we have to use void. Our parameters can act as input to functions, and their return value is its output, which is defined by the return type we have seen in our function's definition. So far, we have been making functions that look like this, with the return type of void. Void means that we are not returning any output data, but you might be thinking, what do you mean by we are not returning output data? We have been printing out text whole this time. Well, when we use system.out.println to print text on our screen, the printing is just for our eyes. Printing just displays text on the screen. It doesn't create any output that we can interact with later on in our programs. Printing and calculations are often done inside the body of a function definition, different than a function that returns a final result to the outside of the definition, like in a separate program where the function is called. So if you want to use the final calculation of a function somewhere else beside inside the function definition, you need to tell your function to return the value of that calculation as an output, which means you have to change this return type void to something else. Then when you call this function later on, you can actually use that return value. The return value can be any data type we want. We just have to specify what kind by changing this word void. By replacing this word void with int, we can return an int value, not the same as printing it out. We can change this return type to string, which means that this function will then return a string value. We can also return booleans, float, and any data type that we have come across. And when we return these values, we can interact with them outside of our function definition. This will be easier to understand when we'll try this out in our code next.